Hi, I'm Whack.
Hey, and I'm Pat, and thanks for joining us for another episode of the Weekly Orbit, the week ending Friday, February 23rd. Whack and I are going to try to put together the top stories of Rocket Pool last week in about 30 minutes. We're going to push it for it. We should call it the best in 40 minutes because we usually go over, but
We
we'll try to
almost
stick
always
to
do.
30 this week. I know.
Yeah.
Are you getting ready for ETH Denver?
Yeah, I'm going to be flying out on Wednesday morning, and I'll be leaving on Sunday late afternoon. So it's going to be a really busy 5 days. I remember from last year, it was like no sleep, very little time for food, but like a whole lot of time for meeting people and like really having a good time. So I'm really excited. I think it's going to be a wonderful ETH Denver.
Yeah, and hey, before I forget, if you're there, I'll be there as well. I'm getting there Thursday. But if you see Whack or you see I, feel free to come up and say hi. Um, Everyone's friendly there. Whack is especially friendly. He is a little
Yeah,
intimidating. He's a big guy, but yeah, feel free to come up and say hi. I'm
absolutely.
always looking
Yeah.
forward to meeting people, and I know you are too, Whack.
Yeah, and that's how we met, right? Like that's how this show started is from us meeting at ETH Denver last year. So we spent a whole lot of time chatting during the conference, and then we got this going. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think as I recall, I said in Hindi, I approach you and say, "Hey, brother, how are you?"
Yeah,
Which I can't remember how to say that right now at this moment, but
that's okay.
like, oh,
You
he
can learn
knows
again for
Hindi.
next week. Yeah,
So
not many people speak Hindi. So, well, actually, a lot of people speak Hindi, but not too many people here speak Hindi. So,
yeah,
yeah,
just like 1.1 billion people speak Hindi.
yeah,
Not
exactly.
not that many.
It's like the most spoken language in the world, probably.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, what are we looking
Okay.
at?
Okay. Well, a little cheer here for Ethereum, which is kicking butt lately. Okay, we got 2,983. Well, that's a long clap and cheer. Yeah,
Yeah.
2,983.96. This as of right now, it's up. We're looking at the 7-day chart here. So we're going to talk about stats a little bit. I want to Ethereum. Obviously, we know big market cap. BTC and ETH are definitely leading the way. Another strong week. We broke over 3,000
Hmm.
early in the week. So let's take a look at some of the smaller caps. And I think this will be part of our market discussion. We've got
Yeah.
there's a kind of bipolar wave going through the market right now. ETH, BTC, and then just about everything else is lagging. All right, let's take a look at
Hmm.
Lido. Okay, this is a 7-day chart for Lido. Okay, it's red. Let's take a look at StakeWise. Okay, red. This is the 7-day. You can see a huge drop off there, and then we get the Rocket Pool. It's a steady red as well. I know there's a lot of sentiment, negative sentiment right now, but I'm trying to put this in the context, Whack, where this is a lot of this. Part of it has to do with Rocket Pool, but a lot of this is just market. It's like you're going down the river. The river stream is heading towards the big caps like ETH and BTC, and everybody else is struggling to paddle against the current. The current right now is going in one direction. So, having said that, do you have any thoughts on the markets this week?
The markets this week have been brutal, right? Like ETH is up, RPL is down. That means the ratio is down bad. The sentiment in the Rocket Pool community is horrendous. People are closing their nodes because they're not getting rewards. They haven't gotten rewards for a while. Like there's a lot of capitulation taking place, and I think people are basically struggling, and that's the only way to put it. Like, you can rationalize it, you can try to understand, market cycles, you can start to understand narrative plays, you can like make all these comments. The reality of it is that people are struggling, and like it's a tough time for a lot of people. So I hope that you're staying above board, like kind of keeping afloat, and don't take risks. Just because you're down doesn't mean that you should take risks, because that's how you blow yourself up. And rule number one is don't blow yourself up. But it's a tough time, right? Like, in the community's kind of been showing that there's been and it's not just in the rocket pool community as well. Like people from outside, the peripheries of it have been saying a lot of negative things about rocket pool, the price action, especially, of course, and then growth and all the other things that come with it. Like it's always the case, right? Like where when one thing is going bad, then people just like focus on every single bad thing you possibly can, and
Hmm.
then mostly it's a price, right? And when the price is doing well, then all of the other bad things just get kind of like ignored or they go away, and everything's wonderful again. So it's one of those situations where right now things are looking bad, and hopefully they'll turn around soon. But it's not been a fun week.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's put in the, so I'll give you some more context here. So Rocket Pool's market cap is number 134. You know who's ahead of
yeah.
us here? Terra
Terran in the
Luna
cloud.
Classic 116. So, I mean, this is I mean, does it make sense that one of the most respected, longest serving teams in Ethereum, most aligned communities in Ethereum, is trailing behind Terra Luna Classic? Sometimes markets do this, and sometimes you might say, hey, you know what? Perhaps these other tokens like Rocket Pool are oversold, right? This
Mhm.
happens. It
Oh,
happened to
definitely.
Solana.
Mhm.
Solana's a decent project. TX happened. It got oversold down to like $8, and it made a comeback. Sometimes
Mhm.
these things, the market goes a little too far both ways. Sometimes you see we can go back to the last cycle where some of these DeFi tokens were thousands of dollars, right? Alchemix was $2,200, I remember at one point, and now it trades at like 30.
Mhm.
Perhaps it got way over its skis
Yeah.
at that valuation.
But
But
the
anyways, I
thank
just go ahead.
I was going to say, thankfully, with Rocket Pool, like it's just not our turn at the moment. Like, staking is like liquid staking, as Rocket Pool is not the fashionable thing right now. Like, you get liquid restaking tokens and Eigenlayer, and I think that's kind of stolen some of the spotlight.
Yep.
But our turn is going to come again, like we already know, and that's not just like wishful thinking, right? Like we know that Petra, the next upgrade after Denkun for Ethereum, is going to have some big things for the staking ecosystem coming into it, and that I think will be a huge catalyst for all the liquid staking tokens. But sadly, that's potentially like 9 months to a year away. So the worry is like what happens in the middle time.
Right. Yeah, we got some stuff in the intermediate.
Hmm.
We got Houston coming up in maybe 6 weeks or so, which will solidify Rocket Pool's most decentralized staking protocol, and it also sets the stage for NodeSet, which would be coming maybe a few months after that, which will really help with draining down the deposit pool, creating more incentive to become a node operator because of the lucrative benefits of staking node set validators. And then we have Saturn 1 and 2 coming. So I mean, you're talking about maybe four, if I include node set, four upgrades over the next year,
Yeah,
which is
which is
a
amazing.
lot.
Yeah, which is why people who are in the community, like us, like who are following this every day, like I think we're a lot more chill, basically, or like tolerant of what's happening than people who are like not aware of what's going on, and they're just seeing the price go down and then they think everything's crashing down. Whereas it's not truth. Like Rocket Pool as a protocol is like on the verge of thriving more than we've ever seen it before, and
Yep.
that is really exciting.
Yeah, and it's not a ghost chain like Ethereum Classic. Well, what's going
Mm,
on over there? I mean, there's a lot going on in Rocket Pool. We got
mm,
some really great community members. If you're heading to ETH Denver, you're going to meet a whole bunch, and you'll. I came away last year like, holy cow, being surrounded by such smart, motivated, passionate people, it makes you feel good. So
yeah.
this is definitely down. We're in the doldrums. It feels like that. We're not alone. There's, as I shown here, there's a lot of the small cap tokens are suffering as well. And just as an anecdote, I had a friend of mine. I mentioned crypto, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I got some ETH. I haven't checked in a while, but I saw it's been going up. Yeah, I might start buying again." So we haven't even gotten into most of this money that you're seeing ETH appreciate is from the existing pie.
Hmm.
There's not a lot of retail coming in yet. They're starting
Yeah.
to perk up a little bit, but we're not there yet. And I think market, as the bull market matures, you'll start to see some flows down to the smaller tokens, the alts as we call them. In TradFi we call it small caps. In here we call it alts. So yeah, if you're in this for the long haul, just keep your head up. We're going to be here talking about all the great things coming. So, anyways, let's move on to our next developments this week in our some of the tokenomics changes. And Samus put together this colorful chart, which I'll expand, just kind of giving you a visual of the different commissions. And as we talked about last week, we're looking at three doors to open for rocket pools. There's your ETH only validators, your ETH and RPL stakers, and then just RPL stakers. And so this kind of visualizes what does that look like. And one of the little changes that Samus made was instead of saying commission cut, we're going to relabel it commission pot, with a pot of gold. And I think that's a better way to visualize it. It's a better meme. Do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I think we're really there's a lot more people are starting to understand just what the new tokenomics systems are going to be looking like. People are asking questions. People are trying to grok the ideas and wrap their heads around them. And I'm seeing that happening every day now in trading, where people are coming in being like, "Oh no, Rocket Pool doom and gloom," and then they understand that there's tokenomics and they ask questions about it, and then they go away thinking, "Oh wow, this is pretty cool," right? And that from beginning to end can take a few hours of having to learn about it. But once people get their heads around it, you can see just how exciting some of the potential changes are going to be. And I think next week we're going to have basically giga brains just kind of working on solving these issues, right? Talking about these ideas and trying to wrap their heads around what will work and what won't. So I think, in the tokenomics space, we're going to get some big updates. Rocket Pool coming in the next 2 weeks, which is going to be amazing to see.
Yep. And Valdorff also put he's kind of been working on his strategy here. And if you're into visuals, these visuals might be helpful rather than talking things in the abstract. Here's a flow chart that he's put together with different scenarios. In this, he's got 3 different users. You got someone who's just staking ETH, someone who's staking ETH and RPL, and then someone who just stakes RPL. And what does that look like? And what are the commissions for them? So we'll post this in the show notes for you to look over. But all of it looks great. And this chart here in particular, it puts these scenarios up against Lido CSM, which is expected later this year. And you can see it outperforms very well. It outperforms solo staking. If you're looking for profitability, these changes we're making are going to make it very lucrative.
Yeah, it's like if you have 100 ETH that you can bring to stake, you'll be getting rewards that are twice as big as solo staking, and the 30%, I think, or 25% more than Lido CSM, which is amazing. Not all of our node operators are 100, have 100 ETH, but those who will have 100 ETH will be massively more profitable than Lido. Everyone will be more profitable than solo staking. But I think the sweet spot, the numbers are around, if you go to 5%, then, that's around 10 or 12 ETH that the node operator will bring. If you go to 4%, then it's closer to 20 ETH that you have to bring to be more profitable than Lido. And if you are going to go to 3%, then you'll have to it'll be less profitable than Lido, basically. Sorry, I got those numbers wrong. I was looking at the wrong line. So it's somewhere between 10 ETH or 15 ETH or around 30 ETH to be more profitable than Lido, depending on how much commission the pot is. Because the bigger the pot, then the quicker that you're above Lido. So these are the things that I'm talking about that are going to be really exciting to see how the final puzzle kind of comes together. And I think what will end up happening is that we'll probably have 2, maybe even 3 competing visions of cohesive plans, and then that's when the community will we'll say like, hey, these are ready for you to like inspect, these are ready for you to poke holes at, these are ready for you to kind of discuss. Let's go and do that now. And then we'll spend maybe a month, maybe even 2 months kind of talking it all out and like getting all the ideas like wrapped around our heads and trying to figure out where there might be a better way to like mix or match. And then we'll vote. So I expect there to be like a cohesive tokenomics plan in the next 4 to 6 months that will be fully developed. Like, and then we'll send it off to the Kane and Langers and the other devs in the team, and then it'll be their job to code it all right and like get it all ready to go. And hopefully it'll be ready to go from day one of Petra going live on Ethereum. We can, like we did with Shanghai, where Atlas went live the day after Shanghai. Hopefully we can do that with Saturn, going with new tokenomics going live the day after Petra. Like, it's going to be a wonderful time, I think, for Rocket Pool.
So is there my understanding is there might be a Saturn 1, Saturn 2. Saturn 2 kind of needing to wait after Petra, Saturn 1
Yeah.
possibly before. How does that
So
line up with some of these proposals?
yeah, there's a lot of question marks, which is why there's been this like community drive to like ask for a roadmap now and like try to get these things cleared out, because we've got some debt, right? Our pip debt of things that the community has voted through that hasn't gone through at the smart contract level yet, and those are things that will definitely be included in Saturn One. Then if any of these tokenomics changes get included into Saturn One, it's possible that they could do. There are a couple of them that don't need Petra to get included, so those could potentially end up in Saturn One. However, there are too many question marks right now, about what will go in there, even when it's going to happen, how it's going to happen, all of those things. There's just too many question marks to really, give any kind of answer about that at the moment.
And on that topic of it's the next steps, Valdorff posted this, and Valdorff says rough order of operations in his head is talk about high level strategy paths at ETH Denver, which is next week.
Mm-hmm.
Get community feedback and decide on one path. Get team feedback on timelines. Determine if there's a reasonable place to do the LEB5 or LEB6 tweak. We can talk
This
about that in a
is
second.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. And then write up a roadmap and let folks comment, and then write up our pips, fleshing items out.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of a rough idea. And I think that's what we were just alluding to. What are the next steps? I think that's what a lot of people are saying. This seems to be pretty solid to me. Let's talk about LEB5 and 6. What do you
So this
think?
is not, yeah, this is an idea that's just come up through in the last couple of days, right? So the next thing, we started with 16s, then went to 8s. So people are thinking the next one's going to be 4, and it looks like in Saturn that's kind of where we're going to start with 4s, but the research shows that 4 is just not viable yet because of MEV theft, and it becomes an issue where people can just steal from the protocol, which of course we don't want, because that's a bad experience for everyone if that happens. However,
Yep.
it seems like there's this kind of maybe a perfect zone where we can go down from 8, but not maybe down to 4, but it might be 5 or 6. Now 5 or 6 is not an elegant number, right? Because if you start with a 16, then you get 2 5s and you're left with a 1. Or if you start with an 8, then, or if you have 2 8s, then you get 2 6s and you don't quite get a third 6. So it's not elegant in that sense that it doesn't like every ETH from the node operator might not be used to its best efficiency. However, even now, it could potentially unlock good efficiency gains for the protocol, and a lot of people, who have multiples of, say, like 42 ETH or something like that, they can, get their 48 ETH, they can turn their 6 LEB8s into 8 LEB6s potentially, or something like that. If they have
Yep.
840, then they can get 8 LEB5s. So this is just an idea that's coming up like in the last few days, and the best thing about it is that it need minimal smart contract upgrade, because everything's in place, right, with LEB8s and 16s already. So it's just a small tweaking of those parameters, as far as I
Mm-hmm.
understand. Like, it's
Yep.
like I said, this is a brand new, fresh idea, and we're still kind of grappling with it. And this might find its way, but I think Houston's too soon, right? Like all the audits are done, so it likely might be in Saturn One, which will then give us another little boost, in about 6 months' time potentially, which will be really nice.
Yeah, and it gives it's a narrative. It's something to get excited about that you could on reduce, and we could eat up some of the deposit pool, and you could be more profitable. Something
Yeah.
a narrative to talk about along with like node set, because I think node set would probably come first. Probably be 5 or 6 come shortly after that, and constantly have things in the pipeline to get the community excited about. So that's well. So hopefully next week at ETH Denver, there's going to be some high level talking and face to face and talking, and we'll come out of that in we'll have a better idea of the roadmap.
Absolutely, yeah, that's really exciting for me. That's one of the things that I'm most excited about at ETH Denver.
Yeah, that and
Yeah,
bowling.
I
I
don't
don't know
think
if we're
bowling's
doing that
happening
this
this
year,
year.
but
Yeah, I don't think so.
well, Joe's not there. That's why he's a. But
He's a professional among
okay,
us.
next, this is another bummer.
Mm-hmm.
Well, kind of bummer. We'll see. The next item is Langer's posted in the Discord talking about the Starknet airdrop. So last week, Whack, we were really excited about potentially getting thousands of dollars, potentially, right? For just being a pre-merge validator.
Yeah.
However, it seems like there was some technical difficulties on the Starknet team, and they had a bumpy rollout overall, it seems. One of the things that they did identify some rocket pool validators. However, they were identifying the staking contract address and not your wallet address, which makes it
Mm-hmm.
impossible to airdrop because you can't claim it if it goes to a contract and not your wallet. So the team, yeah, as we recall, Jasper kind of got the heads together. Rocket Pool is talking to Starknet, trying to help them out. But it turns out that I'll just read what Langer said here. The Rocket Pool community has been allocated tokens in the Starknet airdrop, but the current claim process is incompatible due to the technical issue raised in the previous post. That's the deposit contracts. We are working with Starknet to adjust their process to allow the Rocket Pool community to claim their tokens in a subsequent round. This may take some time to sort out as they are under pressure right now, sorting out the first round of claims. We will stay on top of Starknet and communicate any news as it happens. So it sounds like we'll probably get something. When that will be, who knows? It could
Yep.
be, maybe they'll surprise us, and because this round you have until like June to claim.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they'll surprise us the next few months, or maybe we'll have to wait till the second round, which might be like a year from now.
Potentially, yep.
Or there's a third where they might be like, you know what, it's just technically too
Forget about it.
difficult. We're not going to do it.
Yep. Yep.
So,
So
what do you think?
I pretty much written this off now in my mind that we're going to be getting this, and that's fine. You know, there's definitely a chance that we'll get it in round 2, but who knows when round 2 is going to be? First of all, like we don't know when that's going to be. You know, if you look at Optimism, they've had 4 rounds of airdrops now, and that's been over the course of 2 years. So it might be like once every 6 months or so, maybe a little bit more than that. But I wouldn't expect us to get anything in less than 6 months. Now that might be bad or good. You know, right as the token went live, it was trading at around $4 to $3. Like you could have sold at that price in the first couple of hours of getting the airdrop. That's $5,000 per validator that people basically could have had that are not getting, and that's really disappointing, right? Like you know that the money was given to you, that it was there, but you just couldn't access it. It was like locked, and there's no way to open it. And it might be 6 months by the time you can open it, and by then you don't know what the price is going to be doing, and that's a real shame. And there's sadly nothing you can do about it. And I think that it's $1.84, right? So 1,800 multiplied by that's $3,500 now. But of course, the prices were higher before. That's sat there that you can't get anything from it. So it's a real shame that that's the situation. But the thing is, like Stark, they were giving it to solo stakers because they could they got media boost from it, right? Like they got hype from it that we're giving it to solo stakers. It was like slightly controversial or whatever, but that's what they're kind of feeding off, and they got that. And now will they have any incentive to go back and fix it? Like they're giving money away for free, right? Are they going to spend developer time trying to figure out this thing when they already got the boost that they wanted from it. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, I think I'm a little
Yeah.
bit more pessimistic about this than others. But in my mind, if I get it now, it'll be a nice bonus. But who knows what the value of the token is going to be at that time? Like, is it going to be $3.50, $4? I don't know. I don't think so. Um,
Is it
I
gonna be 30 cents?
It
You
might be,
know.
you know, like there's a chance that it will be, and that's a shame. But
Yeah. And I
that's
know
just the reality.
the other bummer is that I think in April the unlocks for the VCs opens, and you
Yep.
might get some. Well, we'll see how that works, but you might get some dumping, as VCs
Hmm.
cash in,
Yep.
which might suppress the price. You get some sell pressure. On a side note, in the All Nodes Discord, the team they've been in touch with
Stark.
Starknet as well,
Hmm.
and I don't know. It sounds like those who are sticking with all nodes, whether it was just a pure Ethereum node, or I don't know if Rocket Pool as well is included with this, but they're in discussion as well. So it seems to be a developing story. But I'm hoping we get something. It's free money. It's up to them. If they don't want to give it to us, then we don't get it. Or
Yep.
if they do give it to us, it's totally on their time scale, not ours.
Yep.
They're, like, as you said, they're pretty busy at the moment, so it might be a
Hmm.
while. But
Yep.
that doesn't mean we might not be here's the silver lining whack is perhaps other teams who are considering dropping to Rocket Pool validators or validators in general are going to learn from the mistakes Starknet
Hmm.
made. So
Yep.
these
This
next drops will be more efficient.
Yeah, that's already happening, right? So you've seen like lists getting updated and like messaging coming out that like, rated.network, we've updated our lists now to include such and such people, and then we like fix this information and fix that information. And there are a few people in the community who've like really like spearheaded those efforts. So, thanks to those guys. But
Yep.
it looks like for Stark, it might just be a little bit too late for us for this round. Hopefully, the next round, whether that'll be in 6 months, a year, whenever it is, we might get something then.
Yeah, well, keep our heads up for that. On to our next thing. I just want to plug the Rocket Pool liftoff, which is Ken has been working diligently on, and from all I can tell, he's put together a really great program. This is like it looks like we might be handing these little cards out at the Rocket Pool booth at ETH Denver
Mhm.
just to advertise the little side conference that we're having on Saturday and Sunday. So take a look. You might see these floating around if you're heading to the conference. And for Denver liftoff, here's a nice page that Ken's put together. Saturday and Sunday looks like from 8 to 5. There's going to be all kinds of programming. It seems like Saturday is a learning forum. Okay, this is where you're going to see, if you're interested in staking, how do I do it? Whereas Sunday is going to be like in-depth workshops on a multitude of topics.
No,
I'll
no,
be
no,
no,
no. The
I got
Sunday is
to.
going to be like presentations from people. Like it'll be more like a
Oh,
lecture style, and then
that's
on
what I meant.
Saturday it's when you get the workshops. So yeah,
Sorry, I got my
yeah,
terminology mixed up. So
that's
Saturday
okay.
is workshops, Sunday is presentations.
Hmm.
I'll be doing the MC in the morning a little bit. You're going to be doing the afternoon, as I understand,
Yeah, something like that. We'll figure out
something
what
like
the
that.
schedule's
Okay.
looking like. Yeah, but it's gonna be good fun.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll see a bunch of you there. But this,
Hmm.
I think you have to RSVP. I think it's $5 or so $5.20 or something, and that's just so that uh, people can plan ahead and we don't get no shows and things like that. So we'll have I'll put this in the show notes for you.
Yeah.
So on to our wins for the week. What do you have?
So my win for the week is something that Jasper and I have been just started working on, and hopefully it turns into something. But like I was alluding to earlier, like a lot of people have questions about the tokenomics. Nobody really understands it, and they're like trying to like reach all these conclusions without really knowing what's going on. So Jasper and I are going to start working on putting out information in like short, digestible, bite-sized pieces where people can learn about what's happening with the tokenomics. So we want to put out a twice a week newsletter where we talk about different aspects of the tokenomic changes that are happening. And that's in very, very early planning stages right now. We're still getting feedback and like gathering topics, but it's something that we want to start very soon, probably in the week after ETH Denver. So that's my win for the week. It's something that, like, even though prices might be bad, there's people in the community who are still working, people in the community who are still like trying to educate and get information out there and like keep fighting the fight. So that's my win.
That's a good one. My win is on a personal note. I've been applying for my Irish citizenship through Ancestry, and it's been 6 months of hard work and trying to get all the documentation I need. And there's at City Hall, I started this process, and there's a city clerk there working in the clerk's office who's been really excellent, going above and beyond, helping me. It's a lot more work than I had thought when I started, but he's really been an outstanding public servant helping me. And a couple months ago, I wrote an email to his boss and his boss's boss, just saying, "Hey, I just want to let you know that such and such. He's been great. He's really provided excellent customer service, and he's a real asset to your team." And which they really liked, and they responded and said, "Hey, thanks a lot. Yeah, he's great." Yada yada. And so recently, there's a couple other documents that I've been struggling to get, but anyways, he came through. He went above and beyond, and some of these documents are, you're looking at over 100 years old, and he really came through. So my win is be kind to people, right? If you see somebody who's doing excellent work, tell them that, or tell their boss that, all right? Because in the end, it pays back dividends for you as well, right? And it's I don't want to say it's transactional where you scratch their back, they'll scratch yours. There is some part of that, but just be kind. I think I remember as a young man growing up, it wasn't instilled in us to tell, especially other men, to give other men compliments. But and I know a lot of our listeners are younger, like in their 20s and 30s, but take it from me. You will get ahead in life by give sincere compliments to those around you and to those who help you. Tell them, hey, you're doing great. Let them know that. So that's my
Yeah,
win.
that's really great. I'm glad that you found someone so helpful, Pat.
Yeah, I was very lucky. So,
That's
anyways,
wonderful.
thanks for listening and watching and being part of that Rocket Pool community. We will see some of you in Denver next week, and stay
Absolutely.
tuned. We're working out the logistics of next week's show. We might get a bonus episode in there from ETH Denver, but we'll let you know. Until then,
Absolutely.
take care.
See you all in Denver. Bye.
Okay. Bye bye.